but I just need to see them beat a really notable team in the playoff stages before I'm really convinced that it's a really solid tournament for them. And it's not just down to opponents not really 100% being there. It's not me trying to write Cyclops off and say they're a bad team, because we love watching Cyclops. They're really good fun. One of the most fun teams that we actually have at the tournament, and clearly some very skilled players. It's just more, I'm just not having too high expectations until I see it against a really big team.
You got to manage those expectations, exactly that. You know, you don't want to raise that bar too high. The players ultimately, you know, they know what's going on.
If they get through, I'm delighted for them. I don't think they'll finish in first place or maybe even second, but they will get through. I've got no doubt about that.
I think that much is clear at this point. I think.
Well, who have they got left in this group? They've played BDS, they've played Lost One. Who else is in there?
And Astralis.
OXG could be an interesting one, actually. Yeah, and Astralis, I think, have got it in them to be better.
Astralis, I think, will probably, their style will suit playing against Cyclops quite well.
They deal with Chaos quite well.
Yes, I was going to say, they deal with Chaos quite well. They adapt, they improvise, and I think Astralis will probably fare up quite well. I think OXG could possibly struggle because they're a much more logical team. You know, they're a much more sort of strat-based team that they want to do this. And we saw those moments whereby improvisation and adaptation was needed.
Yeah,
it was generally Astralis that came out on top. So yeah, I think that out of the two North American teams, I think, and I could be completely wrong, time will tell, but I think Cyclops will fare better against OXG than
Oxygen definitely have more of a structure where Foxay normally is sort of the intel gatherer for the team, and you look on the other side of things, it's Nuas is the one that I'll be really excited to see how he fares against players like our Cully. Yep. That entry battle is going to be insane to watch between those two teams. 100%. Really look forward to seeing that game get underway. But for now, we are focused pretty much on this game in front of us. Border rolling out for these two teams. The bans, the ones that I really took note of was the Warden being taken away, but no Ying ban. I think we're going to see a lot of Ying throughout this for the attackers as the game rolls on. Maybe not here in this first round, but for sites normally involving upstairs, like the Armory and the Archives one, we've seen teams in America, make for NA more specifically, put a lot of focus onto dumping in a bunch of utility, smoking it out, getting Candelas in, and going for a plant. Really, your go-to is going to be the Warden to help stop that. That not being available is going to make sure that things like Ying really stink.
Interesting play there with the barbed wire onto the balcony. You may be looking at that and wondering exactly why that's been done. Black Ray's going to pick up Dash with a nice peek there to begin things, and what a way for Cyclops to start. But back to my point about the barbed wire there, they may not have noticed, but the armory wall has been half opened up. Thank you very much, Sayano. There you go. So they've got a bit of a peek out onto the balcony there, and all they need to do is play off the sound of that barbed wire if they think that they are pushing onto them, and they can potentially just play in there and take them out on the balcony. But it doesn't look like Cyclops are going to be heading in that direction anytime too soon. You
know what? I really feel for Sayano. This is going to be horrible because the number of kills that we've already seen here before anything has really started has flown, as 3 kills have gone across. Border's one of those maps where everything opens up at range as well. It's going to be impossible to catch all the kills that will be going back and forth between these two teams. It's going to be chaotic. It's going to be frantic. You're really going to see it kind of settle in the mid-round, I think, once all the dust is settled. Because for Cyclops, they really want to get in behind this Ossa, and by the looks of it, they want to make an Archives plant work in their favour. For that, I would like to see below control, but knowing there are no C4s on side, maybe they've got nothing to worry about and they can just go for it.
Exactly. I mean, they're not playing into too much of the Lost One setup. You know, a lot of it was a presence in CCTV. It was the barbed wire on the, you know, the armory balcony there. It was the hole in the wall. They're not really playing into that too much. They need to clear out the laser gates here, and then they can start thinking about going in. I don't think Lost One have got anybody underneath. No, they don't. So they're not necessarily in a position. You just need to push a little bit further, Suzuki. I was a bit worried there. I thought he was going to put the shield on the door, which would have been a problem.
That's it.
But no, he's going to be able to get that diffuser down now. The cover is there. Beautiful from Ayagator. Go again. Have another go. Suzushi's going to be taken down, but it doesn't really matter because the diffuser is in place. Oh, hang on a minute. What? This is a beautiful long arm coming in potentially, but no. There we go. Ayagator quick thinking enough to get himself forward and close that out. And not a bad round. You've got to be ready for that Lost One. I'm a little bit concerned straight away for Lost One there, playing on Border. You've got to be prepped for a potential Archives push and plant, and I just don't feel like they were at all.
No, it's a classic as well, because you only really need, you know, 2, maybe 3 players to pull that off. One to sit on the north side window, one to sit out on balcony, and one to actually put the plant down. The rest are kind of, you know, surplus to requirements. If you want to throw throw someone in through a sandwich or to pressure west wall or main stairs. That's also great, but it's not necessary to make this happen. The key thing there was that when Dots went down, he had an impact still in back pocket. That was the main way for them to deal with the shield coming out from the Ossa. So they paid the price there by losing too many members early on, and the theme consistently for Lost One throughout the series about being far too aggressive and looking for those 1v1s has once again bitten them in the backside. They really need to be calming things down a little bit. Also, wasn't aware that you could long arm defuse through an Ossa shield, but today I learned.
That's it. He was just down the side of it, I think. So there was he had the line of sight through to the case on the floor. But yeah, ultimately it was just not possible for him. But yep, quick thinking to shoot the canister, you know, destroy the shield, and just get the angle that was needed to be able to take that player out. So a good start from Cyclops, and like I said, it does raise immediate concerns for me from Lost One, because you know it's like suffering to a rush in the first round almost. You know, you've got to be prepared for that potential archives point. You can't let them get away with a cheese play almost. You know, it's something that you do in ranked sometimes. You know, let's just throw it down inside of archives door quickly and don't play into the defense. And Lost One, they're going to have to switch on quickly. They've gone for, I think, the barbed wire out on the balcony once again. They're looking for that potential challenge to come through. Last time Cyclops just didn't bother playing into it at all. And honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if they do it again. Wow. But what a beauty. Dash just deleting Alligator from the east stairs.
Cheeky little bugger. Really smashing him there through the soft wall as well. I'm sure a lot of frustration for Alligator knowing that he's been hit there by a bit of RNG, a little bit of bad luck, a little bit of timing also all rolling into one. Arcully looking to move his way up through main stairs here, potentially getting rid of some of the utility more towards the upstairs. They have got a nice angle through as well from the floor, so if they want to start chucking nades skyward, for example, if they want to get themselves into a spot to start pushing in, they've got a few options here, and Lost One are getting ready for what looks to be potentially a main stairs push.
Lost One pretty mobile again. They've got, again, it seems to be a little bit of a common theme through their defences is to have these, you know, rotations, lines of sight opened up. They do play, you know, very open in a lot of ways, and that seems to be continuing on board. They're going to hold the top of main stairs from Fountain for the time being. Anaton just opening up below half wall, but he's not going to find anybody because there's nobody playing there at the moment.
Susie, she's the one to watch here again on the Ossa because he's the one with the diffuser in back pocket as well. If you want to follow what a team's plan is, always keep an eye on the diffuser carry. They tend to indicate exactly what the intents are. And I think here with him pulling away, they might be trying to rotate off. Yes, it looks like they are going round towards break room. May even go past us and keep on all the way round to go back for another archives push. They've got 4 players. That is enough to make it work, but not forgetting that Lost One will have put a lot of their attention instead looking towards the other side of the map.
Dash is just trying to hold the top of east stairs, and he's going to get his man. He didn't stand up, and he found himself the kill. Anaton is there to get the trade. Leaving us in a 3v3. Doesn't know the push is coming. 2 kills for Lobin, and Arcully manages to finally shut him down, but Arcully can do no more as Maya finds the final kill. Lost One leveling things up, and a much better defense there that time. They were much more prepared for what Cyclops were bringing, and that is the level of defense I'd expect to see coming out of Lost One.
Yeah, Cyclops especially, I think, got a little bit tangled up on the west side of the map. Weren't really sure what to do, because for a second I thought they were going to work underneath and get some nades coming up, but the members of Lost One really well placed. We saw the player inside a fountain stood on concrete, couldn't be naded from below, and actually on site itself, there was no information available to feed the nades, to guide them towards targets that they would be looking for. So well played by Lost One, being quite smart about placements on the defense, and Cyclops realizing maybe a little bit too late that it wasn't going to work and they needed to get themselves moved away. Instantly seeing this setup, by the way, makes me nervous. We saw Dream, for example, for Oxygen yesterday, get straight inside a site, get a plant down with the Ossa. It was as easy as 1, 2, 3. We've seen a similar thing happen for BDS over in EUL in Stage 3. That castle wall that you saw dropped a second ago by the single wall leading in towards site just gives you a nice safe passage angle. You get control of these stairs, work your way across, and there's nothing really to stop you.
That's it. You don't have to take an awful lot of the map in order to do that. There's not too much verticality can do that's likely to have been opened up. You know, you can't see that from the hatch, for example. You can see the hatch is open there, but you can't see it from there, and so it's just a little bit limited exactly how much you can impact on that spot as a defender, especially with the wall soft as well. You know, there's going to be an opportunity. I think there's even a rotation opened up in there, so yep, something that Lost One definitely need to be aware of. Look at this though, Cyclops already inside of detention. They've got that opened up, and they're going to be heading through customs very, very soon.
You'd hope so. I mean, looking at how this is set up, they want that top floor control. They want to establish hatch control to give you so much of the site to play behind, and you can also cover the diffuser from above. I think actually it was a game you and I were casting on yesterday when we saw it come down to a 1v1, and the player of the attackers was up on the hatch, the defender was on site, and there was just no way the defender could get away with the defuse with that cover provided on the above. That's why you've got the double castle barricade coming down inside of the red hallway, and why you're seeing so much being committed to this top floor. It's imperative that Lost One hold on to it for as long as they can.
Dash is going to head back up east stairs, away from site, again, just to try and support this top floor hold, I think. He's going to use the Oryx dash and just try and prevent any push coming into break room for the time being. BlackRay holding a very tight angle through there, though, and there's just going to be a bit of a standoff here, but ultimately there's only the defenders that win in such a standoff, getting a couple of drones taken down as well. Dash needs to be careful, though, because it's not going to take much at all for him to be finished off, down to about 40 health here, so certainly on the back foot in any gunfights.
A little bit dicey, you know. Dash is already down to about 40 HP from previous engagement. This nade gets in the right place and be finished off, but here it's just to get that castle barricade blown open and finding a new path through to try and come in for the challenge. And there we go, easy as 1, 2, 3 for BlackRay, picking up Dash and liberating east stairs.
Yep, too easy for him to walk in there. He knows that there's one inside a fountain as well. Lobbin's just going to be encouraged out into the open, and BlackRay is there ready to take the shot, but Maya once again in position. Maya having a great game so far for Lost One here on border. 3 versus 3 Cyclops without top floor control. As Maya drops back into sight. That is going to give it them now, but the time is a-ticking.
It is. I mean, if Maya keeps on playing like this as well, then it's a real good sign that Lost One might get some joy in these rounds. The step out comes in. Is it Maya round again? It's a bit of a 1v1, but Maya loses out the 1v1, down to a 3v2 for Cyclops.
That was beautiful from Maya there as that flash came in. He knew that there was potentially going to be a push following it. He had no option but to aggress, and it was the right choice. Lost his life shortly after, but 2 versus 3 is not the end of the world for Lost One here with 20 seconds left to go. Cyclops, they're going to have to get moving and potentially think about putting a diffuser down, and 15 seconds left to go, waiting for Selma charges to detonate. It's not the best place to be. Dot's almost taken out, but somehow finds one, finds 2 before he's closed down. 3 seconds left to go. Suzushi, no real option but to stick. This goes for the kills, but no Rise in the absolute nick of time manages to take him down, and that's going to be another round for Lost One, but boy, was it close.
Really good call by Suzushi there to push. A good idea of where the player was, looking in for the gunfight, but Rise holding still does give Lost One that second round in the game. I'm loving it so far. It's getting nice and scrappy in the game a little bit to points. Well, that's what you want in the last best of 3 of the day.
Honestly, one bullet there, Des. One bullet as Suzushi comes around that corner. If one bullet touches the head of Rise, that's it. The round is done, and somehow he's turned it over and got the win. But unfortunately, Cyclops just leaving things a little bit too late. Got that feeling in the last 20, 30 seconds when, you know, you've 15 seconds left and you're opening up with Selma charges. That's last gasp at that point, and Lost One ultimately able to take the defense. Now, you know, generally speaking on border, we might expect to see the attackers, you know, fare reasonably well. As long as you can get yourself inside of the map, that's the big challenge. The defense usually comes around trying to prevent the attackers even getting into the map. Once you're in there, you've got a reasonable chance of winning the round. So Cyclops really could do with another couple on the board, if at all possible.
Whew, you're hoping so. Let's see what they can make do with the terror that has really tormented the side of Lost One throughout this series. Sanderson once again stepping across the playing on the glass, supported by that Ying that I mentioned earlier on. And it's taken a couple of rounds for it to make an appearance, but we know Warden on side. That operator right now is really bloody powerful. Even just for clearing out areas of the map that aren't the site, for getting top floor control, for example, it's a really smart pick here. So I'm glad to see Cyclops acknowledging that, cottoning on and saying, all right, let's bring it along, see what damage we can do. 4 smokes, a bunch of candelas, looking good.
Arcully on the Ash, a scary prospect really. Arcully's been absolutely flying so far today. Very impressed with his performance, and we know how damaging Ash can even now still be. A couple of nerfs along the way over the last couple of years, but still very viable in terms of fragging. So we'll see what Arcully can do within the round. Supported by the Ying as well. Glaz, as you've already mentioned, on Anaton. You know, they've got all the key ingredients here to be a real nuisance, but
can you make make a cake?
That's the question. The beginning is they're going to be looking to clear out the top floor. Lobbin is on that sandwich window. He's just stood next to it, and you just wonder exactly what's going to happen. He goes for the jump out, but no. Cyclops say there are only one kings of jump outs in this server, and it is us. Anaton managing to double down, get another kill, and that leaves us now in a 5 versus 3.
Here comes Maya as well, stepping around for the 1 versus 1 and wins it out against Anderson, taking that glass offline. 3 versus 3 with 90 seconds to play. A little bit better as well as Rise finds a 2K. The demon on these vertical angles, it's why you need that top floor control and why I really thought we might see Sushi going for a bit of a push in. But our Cully brings down Dash, a 2v2. These numbers just keep on following each other throughout the rounds, Tim.
What a turnaround for Lost One in the round there. 5 versus 3. Rise and Maya doing a great job from above. Maya having a fantastic game on border, both of them really. 9 kills between the two of them inside of the 4 or 3.5 rounds that we've played so far. Now the problem for Cyclops is that they still have the vertical, and both of them are up there, and for good reason, Des, because they're just going to play to deny the plant from above.
This is it. Again, it's such a critical part of attacking this site that you need that vertical control. You need to have it on side, but they haven't got it. In they come for a charge across, stuck in tight in the corner of Workshop, evading by the looks of it. The watching eyes from above of the defenders. They're going to get away with it, Tim, as well. That plant's stuck, and now it's Lost One that have got to find a way out of a sticky situation.
Too easy for Cyclops to get that diffuser down when you have 2 players above for Lost One. If you're going to commit to the top floor, you've got to be able to at least stop the plant. They had you know, the tools to be able to open up those vertical angles ready. Arcully manages to find Maya, and there comes the second kill. Beautiful rappel and a beautiful double to close out the round. Cyclops leveling things up 2-2, and you just feel like this one could potentially go the whole distance there. But we've got to come back to Lost One there. 2 versus 2. They have the vertical on Ventilation Workshop, and Cyclops are able to walk in and plant in what is, let's be honest, a pretty default spot.
It's another spot as well, another round where Lost One have had the numbers of, we've seen this across all 3 maps. They've had the numbers advantage and still managed to lose the round. Like, relying solely on the verticals is one thing, but that maybe was a little bit too much of a committal. Having 1 player on site, for example, supported by those verticals on key entry points into the site might have been more of the play. So, Cyclops being gifted a little bit of a freebie there as well, working through what looked to be a bit of a precarious situation, have brought things back up to 2 apiece.
I've no major problem with sticking to the verticals, but you've got to have those holes ready at least. You know, if that's going to be your full commitment, you've got to have the holes opened above the default spots. You've got to be in a position to be able to take them down. And like I say, planting inside of that door, it's, you know, it's maybe not your number 1 choice, but it's certainly not unusual either. So a little bit of a disappointment for Lost One there, and we see things leveled up. Heading into round 5 then, and we're going to have another armory defense. We saw this back in round 1 and 2, because Cyclops, as the attackers, were able to win the first with a little bit of a plan onto Archive's door, but then we came back. Lost One were able to get it done, and they're going to double down and try and find another round here.
Lost One have stacked upon this whole, like, duck, oryx, duck. I can see saying ducks, I think of rook and dock together. It's still related, still poisoning my mind. A caster used to work there in the Nordics. But having the dock and the oryx together does mean that, of course, if you've got the oryx charging through a number of walls, you have the ability to get him topped back up again. It doesn't sound like a lot, only losing a slither of HP each time you run through a wall, but it can have a massive impact in a gunfight, especially when we're at a point where extended barrels are in the game and it can move some guns from being 3 down to 2, for example, to get a kill. It does really start to matter. So at some point you should see those 2 hook back up again together and get a little bit of juice on the go to get Lobbin back up to full HP.
Maya playing the semi-roaming dock at the minute, going to be playing in CCTV, try and prevent access from there, and it's something that Cyclops need to be aware of. Anaton's trying to push himself forward towards site. Dots it is that opens things up, and that's a big kill onto Arcully. You know, we've commented a few times how well Arcully has been playing, so taking away some almost guaranteed kills there is not a bad thing for Lost One before any damage was really done. Black Ray's going to head up to the top of East Stairs and just support that push. It looks like they're going to try and get themselves into office more than the balcony side and in towards half wall.
As it stands, they're still down a number, and a lot of their utility is gone on the side of Cyclops, so you're wondering exactly how they can pull that kind of feat off. 2 nades, I guess, in the back pocket of Black Ray is far from the end of the world, but it does feel once again like this is a pretty comfortable outcome for Lost One. a little bit hesitant to get excited for them, knowing again that we've seen a couple of number advantage fights being lost and then ultimately a round being costed across to the other side. What looked to be a gunfight then for a second in break room just turned out to be absolutely nothing. Dash looks like he's ready to drop through this hatch as well when the going gets hot.
My managers had wondered just how we'd sort of not heard any shots following up there, but Maya ultimately able to dance around and get the kill onto Anaton, but Ayagator and Blackray find two of their own, and once again, Lost One find themselves in a man advantage, 3 versus 2, but Cyclops, they won't be scared, as you say, they've been able to do it a few times. Dots gets the information through with the yellow ping, can't find the shots though, but push still coming from off his side and now through metal detector as well.
It's 2v3, which feels like the scariest stat line to have, I guess, for Lost One. Again, we've seen them lose quite a few of these throughout the series so far. CAG still trying to put this one together, not aware of player inside the fountain. They lose out the 1 versus 1. Dots hits the deck as Suzushi is rounded off all the way towards 90 and has now got a man on main stairs to face off against it. He will not win. Lost One move up to 3 and 2.
A good half now, I would say, for Lost One. They've got their 3 defences. They've got an opportunity to make that 4, and it puts them on the front foot. That much is for sure, especially heading onto the attack after this round. But it looks like Bathroom Tellers is going to be the final defence. We saw this back in round 3. It was a Lost One win, so not too much of a surprise there. Cyclops going to have to bring something a little bit different. They did manage to get themselves into office. It was reasonably close. There were kills there to be found for Cyclops, but again, it was one of them situations. I think it was maybe Maya at the time who stepped up and just got a couple of crucial kills and prevented the progress.
Well, there's something different for Cyclops here. It's not all that different, Tim, but it is different by most team standards, I imagine. The Glass coming back in once again, flanked by the Ying, and also now with the Nomad coming along from Ayagator. So wanting to shut down the possibility of Lost One coming off on those flanks and trying to do damage later into the round, make it a little bit more direct in heading towards site. We are on that Bathroom Teller site as well, which means once again we're going to see a big focus up on the top floor. Cyclops this time round surely realised we have to crack open that top floor shell if we're going to make this work.
I always find it interesting, the buff to castle that allowed him to place the barricades across the corridor areas on border. I think it was a fantastic... I think it's brilliant. I think it was a fantastic change. It just really adds another layer to the map and just gives, I think, some much needed flexibility to the map as well, because obviously the top floor is made up of 2 main areas, really. You've got CCTV, bottom left corner, and then you've got office and archives, top right corner. And they're your major focal points for attackers trying to get into the building. So being able to do that just added that little bit of extra layer of depth.
I think what I like about it is it does separate the map very much in half and isolates the west side from the east. The only way through, unless you're going to try and work your way through those castle barricades, is across the waiting area balcony or by pushing up into archives and coming down through the single door. Both neither really ideal because you are ferrying your way through a couple of single doorways, bottlenecks essentially, that make things a lot easier for the defenders to deal with, so there is that to also be focused on. But again, Cyclops must know that top floor is critical for this attack to come off well.
Lost One going to be hoping to lock this down. Lobbin's still up on the top floor. A little bit quiet so far this time on border. We've not heard too much out of him. He's had his big moments through the game, but could do with maybe just getting a little bit more involved here. Candela is going to go directly into sight. Interestingly, there's nobody really in a position to follow that through. Anaton's searching to try and find anybody he can inside a side, but he's going to get no joy there. Lost One don't need to move. They're not going to step into his line of sight. So all is good at the minute. Oh, it's actually Suzushi who's upside down on the glass, just foxing me there with Anaton.
Oh, sorry, yeah, you're right.
If you see glass, you assume it's Anaton,
yeah.
But that's not the case.
It's a more supportive role here, I think, where he's just making sure it's clear before they make anything happen. Maya bringing down Ayagator, 5v4 to kick things off, and I'm only concerned here. I was going to say they're not getting inside the building, but suddenly they've flooded sight. What about upstairs, though? What's going on up there? Arcoli finds one more. Suzushi in place, brings down a second. Back out the window and trying to get his teammate up, but no, he's gone down for it as well. It's a 2v3. The number of times we have seen this for Cyclops against Lost One is absolutely ludicrous. Arcoli makes it 2 versus 2. Can Cyclops hold on and get this over the finish line?
45 seconds left to go. There is the option potentially potentially, if Cyclops think they can get themselves out of the building, Anathan could be recovered. We've got Black Ray just moving up to the top floor to try and prevent any further verticality coming out, but time is going to become a factor potentially. Dash manages to take down Arcully, and that leaves us now in a 1 versus 2 for Black Ray. No hope of picking Anathan up anymore, and will be cut down. There's that final kill, and what a good half for Lost One to start things off with. 4-2 on the defensive border, and they take one step closer to a first match win here at Six Invitational 2023.
It's exactly as you said as well, Tim. Defensive side of border is the big one, and again, Cyclops who are coming out with all the wacky stuff, the Glaz being a permanent fixture in their attacks, a little bit of changing around that, but always something different to bring into each round. I just look at that and ask for the Cyclops, you know, you guys play BDS in this as well, you know how to play this map, but it felt like they were ignoring a lot of the key elements like that vertical control, or were keeping it very sort of one-sided. Think about their plan, for example, that did work out when they ignored the vertical control. Equally, we've had shown here why vertical control is so important, because they've lost some of that, at least early into the execute in that round, with 2 members being downed and 1 even being finished off. But here we go then, side swap. Cyclops going to the defense. On the attacking side is Lost One. No Glaz on their side, but we are seeing a good number of nades being brought in here. 3 of the operators, all with those in back pocket. And when there's only a 1 eye on side, it feels pretty smart to start tossing those in, because you never know what you're going to find on a tight map like Border.
5 seconds left.
This is going to be a very, very telling round. Usually I would focus on slightly later rounds, you know, to start determining how things might work out. But I think this one is going to give us a very good indication. If Lost One come in with a good attack here, go 5-2, I would expect to see them probably go on and take this whole thing, take the lion's share of the points. So it's really important for Cyclops that they get in this one locked down. It's their primary site choice, you know, and they need to make sure that they get the job done.
Absolutely agree. Bit of denial coming in as well with Anathan on the Bandit. 3 of those batteries now down and deployed to keep these walls locked up tight. No EMPs coming through on the side of Lost One, either in the form of a Thatcher or in the form of the mini ones as well. Of course, the KB, one of those operators that does have the new gadget available. Although we've seen a couple of teams in the last couple of days try and make those work and fail to find the gadget that was actually keeping a wall locked up. One of them on this exact map.
You've got to be quite specific with them. You know, the radius certainly isn't anywhere near what Thatcher can bring.
1.8 meters to
exactly.
Thatcher's like 5 or something.
This is it. You know, if you're hitting the bottom of a wall and there's gadget at the top of it, you are not going to take it out. And much the same left to right as well. You know, you've got to be sending drones in there and just be sure of exactly where that gadget is placed if you want to be successful with them.
Still holding here out towards this east side and office. A bit of a slow start for Lost One, who haven't moved any massive pace just yet, but are getting themselves lined up. Going to open up the non-electrified single wall. This will open up a part of the wall to the right-hand side as well, I imagine, at least a little bit. To start getting them some focus in. As Dash comes in with the first nade, brings out Black Ray. We did mention there are a lot of those on side, 6 overall in the round. They are down to just 2 left, but you can hear the explosions going off across the entire map as Lost One keep on trying to seek out key targets.
I guess it's going to take an awful lot of damage there. They can't secure the kill. Lobin sort of smells blood and tries to get in there aggressively. Just all he can do is pepper his way back through the soft wall there. Suzuki almost picks up the feet of the man underneath, but will not have any such luck. Lost One really starting to ramp the pressure up here in round 7 as Lobin's going to hold that long angle. If any movement comes across trying to rotate back into sight, it could be a danger for them, but the knock actually moves away and pushes back in towards the side door.
Here we're still trying to make it happen at 45 seconds remaining. Again, it feels like Lost One have sort of stalled a little bit here as well. Unsure how to proceed. Arcully bringing down Meyer, a second one coming out, but it's trades galore as Dox and Dash go for a pairing, get 3 kills between them. Plant is going down, and Irrigator with a slither of HP has got to make it work against 3.
Low health, and as soon as he's going to move in here, he's got a choice, either the sound of the metal detectors or he goes through the window. He can't sit here all day, Des. He's on the clock. He's got 3 kills left to find. He knows that there's one available for him, but just can't do it as Dash steps around and finds his kill through the metal detector. And that is a super important round for Lost One, coming in with the first attack on the primary site and getting that 5-2 lead. You just feel like that might crush the spirit of Cyclops.
Oh, I really get a sense of deja vu again. Back on map 1 on Theme Park, we were at 5-2 for Lost One and thought, surely they don't lose this one away now. But the battle back came in, we climbed up to 5-5, it went all the way through to overtime. It was a real war. So looking here with Cyclops having their moment to say, right boys, we've got to get the reset on here. What can we do about this? You're sensing that moment of panic. We are seeing the fractures really start to show in the team. Lost One looking full of confidence.
Cyclops, you know, they are absolutely capable of doing it, yes. Oh, yeah. But Lost One, you know, think of the Lost One on Cafe. This looks like a completely different beast to me. You know, you've got Maya going absolutely wild at the minute. Dotson Dash really showing up in that last round there as well. Everybody on Lost One is sort of chipping in. And, you know, I use the phrase that they've smelt the blood in the water. And that really is how this feels now. It feels like Lost One know the door is open and all they need to do is step through it.
That's it. It's a good start for them. It's looked a bit rocky at points throughout the series, but all that stands between them now and those 3 points is a couple of rounds. So here we go. IQ on side for Maya here, expected to find something kind of crazy coming out, and I think it's probably a good idea. We have got the Yokais on side from Anaton, we've got the Pulse as well from Arcully, so vertical play between those two, it feels is going to be absolutely critical.
And we saw Maya having a fantastic kill onto Arcully back on the, I think it was the last map, I think it was Cafe, getting the kill onto the Echo, using that gadget fantastically well to pick up on those operators. So something that Anaton and Arcully definitely need to be aware of here, especially if Lost One are able to gain that top floor control. There's a reasonable amount of destructible surface between the two floors here on border. There's plenty of it to go at, so definitely a threat there.
I just love how Arcully across this series is just leagues ahead when it comes to entry. 8-2 across the whole series so far. Obviously not quite enough to get the team over the finish line, but really it feels like everyone looking at the numbers, you know, the lowest rating is 0.85 to the highest of 1.15. Everyone is getting involved. There's no one that's really slacking too far behind the pack. I think Lobbin being the lowest at 19 to 25 on KD. On the other side, it's IAG to 21 to 23. It really is tight.
We're into the action phase then, 30 seconds in. I think there was a little look out of a window there from Cyclops, but nothing.
Shock horror.
What a surprise. Nothing to be found as Lost One. I just feel, compared to Cafe, I just feel that Lost One have really sharpened up over the last few rounds. And whether that's down to the map specifically or, you know, whether it's just sort of, you know, giving their heads a wobble and saying, right, come on, we need to get back into this. Either way, they just feel, you know, a lot more sort of sharp and on the edge of victory here. Black Ray's going to drop away from top floor, so that gives access into CCTV. Not ideal for Cyclops at this early stage because it means that Lost One can start taking that all-important vertical control.
So he does it as well for Rise.
They're not messing about, are they either? Straight in.
Which is good, because it's something they've lacked, I think, a couple of times here is how fast they've moved. Black right now, where there is an ace pushing in from CC's side. Rise the one pioneering that spearhead, gets caught up by a C4 by the looks of it as well. Put on his backside, not taken out, and could be recoverable here, but I know exactly what's going to go on. They'll let him get outside, get on the balcony, but here comes Black Ray. Is there someone looking to go for the trade? Yes, but it's not to be found.
Black Ray could have had two there if he'd have got a bit luckier, but no, able to find his second there, so he won't mind. He just seems to be slipping through the cracks over and over here. Maya manages to find him eventually for the trade, but the damage could largely be done. It's 3 versus 4. Anaton taking a ton of damage though, will be down but not out as well. Effectively, 3v2 has Lost One. Honestly, they managed to just flip the script there and turn the man advantage on its head.
How many 3v2s are we going to see from Lost One going into Cyclops? I feel like every round we're saying it's 3v2, at least even if a temporary one due to someone being down. Again, man advantage to the LATAM side. This surely is where they push us on to match and series point.
Nitro going to be used there, but it will be ineffectual, not finding its target, and Lost One just need to think about exactly where this plant is going to go down. They've got Suzuki playing in by the bomb. Arcully is there as well, supporting on the pulse. Doesn't have the scanner out at the minute to feed that information back in, but he's just going to play from deep in workshop. Not the best weapon to be engaging at that sort of distance potentially, but 13 seconds left to go. Lost One, I'm just a little bit worried that they've not pushed with enough urgency here, and a couple of kills coming in at the right time from Cyclops is going to stop everything, but no, somehow they managed to find those final kills, Des.
I just love the passion. I think even Norris is putting in a name for himself as being one of the more vocal coaches that we've got out here, Tim.
Certainly is.
I mean, I love the team in high spirits.
Right, par for the course for the LATAM teams. They're always very vocal.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Absolutely fitting in with the crowd there, 100%. At 6-2, 4 rounds for Cyclops to claw back. It's feeling a little bit impossible. CAG in time is not in session.
No, I feel like they've just, you know, I feel like they've been broken a little bit here. Coming in, I really expected them to stand up better on board. They had a good result there against BDS. They had a fantastic win on Cafe in Map 2. And, you know, what else can you do to come in? I expected them to be flying coming into this map. But Lost One have just stood strong. They've somehow, you know, they've dug deep after that Cafe map and they've come back fantastically here. And, you know, they deserve the plaudits because this has been great so far.
Again, we said earlier on, and it still stays true, I'm excited to see how things shape up when they come up against other competition in the group as well, how things start to rack up. But if nothing else, this group is kind of proven to me already that everyone can beat everyone. Yeah, it's a really entertaining and scrappy group. It's hard to call who makes it through and who doesn't so far. But that ultimately is why we've still got 3 more days of play to go through. We've
said it time and time again, International Siege has never been closer, is the reality. You know, there's never been so many teams capable of beating each other. You know, gone are the days where you could predict the 2 finalists at the beginning of the tournament. You'd struggle to predict the 8 quarter-finalists at the beginning of the tournament, to be honest, these days, is the reality. You know, that's the truth of it. And that's just better for us. It's better for us as viewers. You know, we can sit here and enjoy these wars, these battles, where you just don't know which way they're going to go. But right now, this one looks like it's heading in the direction of Lost One, but there is still work for them to do.
Still a lot of time by the looks of it as well. The game over on our other stream isn't too far off done either, so we'll start getting some updated standings coming through for this group, as it looks like both games might be about to draw to a close at roughly the same time. As it stands here, you can see the members of Lost One still working their way around the outside of the building. This kind of slow and composed start. We've seen quite a lot from them on the attacking side, an absolute antithesis to what we see on their defense, where their main goal is to be really aggressive and get up in the face of teams like Cyclops super early into the round. Suzushi's days might be numbered here, as it feels like Lost One are starting to set up a little bit of a pinch.
Just going to have the breach coming in there. The wall to the side is reinforced. Can they get this opening kill onto Sandwich? Nice. Yes, they can. Dot's able to take down Suzuki. Anaton taking damage as well. Just opens up the wall, enable him to fight back a little bit better. But Lobin, he manages to find our Cully. Anaton doing fantastically well through that hole he opened up. But Dash, he's just waiting for his opportunity. He knows that Anaton is likely to step across here. And when he does, it's going to be good. There you go. Beautiful headshot. Barely saw more than a couple of pixels, but still able to find his man. It's all up to Ayagator to keep Cyclops in this. Unlikely at this point, though.
I think that he's bled out there as well. Myers bled out a little bit. Suzushi cannot be doing that from beyond the grave. No ghost bullets in this game, but Ayagator, he knows his days are numbered here. It looks like he's going extinct along with Cyclops, as with 3 still standing and only 50 seconds to play with. This one should be done and dusted. Now they know where he is. The drone worker sniffed him out. He's pinned in the corner here as well. They didn't even get the cross in time. Plant is going down, not even needed. Rise with the close, and Lost One start out with their first victory here at SI 23.
Great start for the LATAM team. You know, stepping up above. Liquid didn't win their first game. FaZe didn't win their first game. And Lost One have come out here and really flown the flag. It's been a great performance from them on Border and a joy to watch.
Absolutely. Again, I can't really help but come back to it again and again. This group just feels so wide open and scrappy, but that's what we're in it to see. You know, for Lost One, a team that, again, came in through qualifiers. Many had low expectations for them. Wasn't too sure what to expect today, but we have seen some good stuff. Lobbin, a bit of a rough first map, but did warm into it the longer things went on.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, you can't ignore our Cully in that match as well. Our Cully going fantastically well on the entry, but overall as well, really contributing to what was at times a very good Cyclops performance, but it just all seemed to crumble on Border.
It's always kind of a permanent question about Cyclops. When are they going to rise above past performances and really start to shine? Still, always one of my favourite parts. The Talayas acknowledging a good game has been played here as well. Shaking off hands, fist bumps, all the rest of it towards the end. And who knows, maybe these 2 teams could re-meet once again in the playoff stages.
Certainly could do. It certainly wouldn't surprise me to see both of them make it out of the group. But as you say, you know, we start looking at this group and we talk about groups of death and we talk about predictability. All the groups are difficult to call. But I look at